Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to create these animated texture transitions in Blender. We are going to cover 4 different effects that will allow you to completely switch textures and not have to use keyframes. Before we jump in, hit the like and subscribe button, it really helps the channel out. To set up the scene settings as I have them, make sure that your render engine is set to cycles, your device settings are set to GPU compute, and that your viewport max samples are switched from 1024 to 20 for a fast viewport render, and also make sure denoise is enabled. We are also going to get rid of the default cube and add a UV sphere, and make sure that it is shaded smooth before we get into the texture transitions. I am also going to be using the 2 textures from my previous tutorial videos, the spalted wood and Italian marble textures. If you would like to learn how to make these 2 textures, feel free to check out my channel for step-by-step videos. Okay, let's jump into the shading panel right here, and you'll notice that I have a lot of nodes going, but we are in a completely flat black display. That is because nothing is connected to the material output right here. The way that you actually join 2 shaders with 2 completely different texture node setups together is by using a mix shader node right here, and we can simply plug this principal BSDF into this shader node right there, as well as this one from down here into this shader node, and then connect them to the surface. And as you'll see, we have a lot going on. If I move the factor all the way to the right, it's the spalted wood texture. And if I move it all the way to the left, it is the Italian marble texture. By default, it is set to 0.5, so it's trying to mix both of them together right now. But let's create some animated texture transitions. First off, let's start by adding a noise texture. And we're going to drop it right here. And if we connect the factor to the factor of the mix shader right here, and I start messing around with the scale, it just kind of affects the texture. It really doesn't seem to do anything right now. And that's where the math and the map range node are really going to come in. So what we're going to do is hit Shift A to bring up the search bar, and we're going to type in math, and we're just going to drop it right here, and it's automatically going to connect. And what we want to do is change it from add to ping pong. And we're going to just bring this one down here. We're going to change the factor to so it's plugged into the scale of the ping pong, not the value right here. And then we're going to just drag them over a little bit and add our map range node. And we're going to drop it right here. And it is going to take a moment to process because we're still in material preview mode. Now, what we want to do here is we're going to add some math equations to drive the texture transition. So what I want to do is just click this value right here, and I'm going to type in #frame/20. Now, if I just make a little new window right here, if I drag this up and I switch this to timeline, we can now check things out. And if I hit play, we'll see that things are happening. But we need to do more to really make this work. So what we're going to do is change the map range setting from linear. We're going to change that to smooth step. And then what we're going to do right here is we're going to add 2 math equations. On this one, in the from min section right here, we are going to type in #frame/200. And in the from max, we are going to type in #frame/350 and hit enter. Now, if we hit the play button, we get this morphing noise texture effect. And at around, it looks like around frame 200, just like it kind of corresponds to the from min setting, it completely changes textures from one to the other. As you can see, Italian marble, completely solid. And then we move into this, sort of morphing section right here. And if that is the effect you're looking for in this particular effect, you are done. You can definitely make some changes as usual. You can change the #frame settings under the ping pong and lower them. And this will give it a much more faster, rapid response. But I like the way it was set originally. That's just an option, you know, if that's something you're into. So if that's the particular effect you are into, you can Control Z to make sure it's back. You're done, and we can now move on to the second effect. All right, what we are going to do now is we are going to duplicate this UV sphere, and we are going to move it on the x-axis and again on the on the y-axis there. And we are going to hide our first one, and we are going to delete these 3 nodes, and let's add a Voronoi texture. And before we connect it to anything, let's change the F1 feature output to N sphere radius. Now, let's just connect the radius right here to the factor of the mix shader. And what we need to do, once again, if we start messing around with the scale, it's just going to sort of pretend it's like an overlay texture, and we want to add another math node and a map range node to it. But we're going to add a different math node this time. We're going to drop this right here, and it will automatically connect. And we are going to change it from add to wrap. Now, we're also going to just change this value right here. We want to connect the radius to the max. And then we are going to add a map range node right here, and we're going to drop it in there, and it's going to automatically connect. And then what we want to do is we want to select the value right here, and we're going to click it, and we are going to type in #frame/20. And let's check our work so far. If we press the space bar, it kind of does this flickering effect, but it really doesn't have anything that dynamic. So what we want to do is click on the from min setting right here, and we are going to type in #frame/200. And the from max, we're going to click on that and type in #frame/350. And we also want to change the setting from linear to stepped linear. All right. And now I also want to increase the scale to 15. And let's just see how that looks. Yeah, it's kind of just having this wild, you know, chipping effect. And I like the way that looks. So yeah, that is done. If that is the effect that you think works out nicely for you, you are done. You can obviously tweak the settings to slow it down. I kind of like the way that it looks when it's kind of just going like really fast there in the beginning. Kind of reminds me of almost like a hologram effect that's sort of malfunctioning. So yeah, this effect is done, and we are now ready to move on to effect number 3. All right, let's duplicate our sphere right here, and we will move it on the x-axis and then again on the y-axis. And we are going to click this little page icon to add a new material. And let's just get rid of all 3 of these nodes. All right, and let's add a wave texture. And we will place it right about here, and we will connect the factor of the wave texture to the factor of the mix shader. And we will add a math node. And we will just drop it to automatically connect. And then once again, we will add a map range node, and we will drop it here so it automatically connects. And what we want to do for this one is we are first off going to go over to the wave texture, and we are going to, under the scale, we are going to add a math equation right here. We're going to type in #frame/30. And then we are going to go to the phase offset right here, and we are going to type in #frame times 20. This is just going to give it a lot of movement. If we press the play button right now, it kind of just like makes this movement along the x-axis in the like with a lot of just like wave movements, and that's a good thing. So what we want to do here is we're going to change the math node from add to ping pong. And we are going to type in under the scale #frame/20. Now, if we press the play button on the space bar, yep, we get more that's happening, but it's still not completely transitioning the textures. That's where the map range node comes into play. So let's just change this right here, the interpolation type from linear. We want to change that to stepped linear. And just under the max, the from max settings right here, we are going to type in hashtag frame/25. But what we also want to do is the from min right here, we want to set it to -0.3. If you don't set it to -0.3, it's just going to by default start off like this, and it's going to change textures, but it will not start off as that original texture. So make sure that you set the from min to -0.3, and when you press play, everything will work out nicely for this effect. Yeah, it has like a really unique kind of like waving in and out effect. I like the way that looks. I like the timing of it. So yeah, as you kind of progress around, it just has like a nice modulation effect. I think that's working out nicely. All right, and if you like the way that looks, we can now move on to effect number 4. All right, once again, let's duplicate our UV sphere right here, and we are going to move it on the x-axis and then once again on the y-axis. And then we are going to add a new material by clicking the page icon right here, and let's delete our entire node setup for that mix shader. And let's now add a magic texture. That's a texture that you don't normally get to use. So let's just drop that right here, and we are going to connect the factor of the wave magic texture to the mix shader factor. And, you know, like once again, messing around with the scale doesn't do anything. So let's now add our map range node first. We'll drop it right here. And I want to change the interpolation type from linear to stepped linear. And then what we want to do is the from max, we want to type in hashtag frame/25. And if we hit the play button, it does have it's nice. It is nice. It's a little slow. One thing I think will really spice this up is a math node that precedes the magic texture. And we want to change this one to floored modulo. And we're going to connect the value to the scale. And we want to come under the lower value right here, and we are going to just type in hashtag frame/20. And when we hit play, I feel like it has a more unique effect. It kind of blends into that a little bit nicely. I really like the way that looks. It just kind of like waves in and like a layering system, and then just has like an encompassing effect. But if you don't like that, you can definitely just unplug that. And now it has a little bit more of a morphing effect. It kind of has like a different effect that, you know, similar to the others. Let's just get the fourth one back in there. Yeah, let's look at all of them at once. Yeah, they all have like a different variation to suit different needs. I think they, I think they're interesting looks. Yeah, let's just pop in here really quick into the layout tab. Let's move these a little bit closer. Yeah, let's add a plane right here. Scale it up really, really big. GZ right here. Let's just go under the material tab right here, and we will make this, check out camera view, and we'll just make a little change. Yeah. Let's just pop into the rendered view and see how this looks. Yeah, there's a lot going on. So yeah, this effect obviously works on many different meshes of different kinds. So you can use this in a variety of different, applications for your projects. Yeah, and I hope this helped you out. I hope this, helped you out in your, various pursuits. I'd like you to comment below to tell me about how you would use these or some different ideas about what you think they could work with. And, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, check out some of my other content if you're looking for some more texture, tutorials or whatever, and leave me a little bit of a comment to also let me know what you're thinking about for the next video. Have a good day out there, guys. And, just keep on creating something cool and have a good weekend. Take it easy.